Are you a physical therapist interested in cash pay physical therapy? Maybe you've been practicing for a few years thinking it might be that time for you to make the leap into cash pay practice. Or maybe you're a new grad or third-year physical therapist thinking, I'm concerned if I go into cash PT that I don't have enough clinical experience. I'm here to answer the question, does clinical experience equal better outcomes in a cash pay setting? My name is Dr. Garcia. I help cash pay physical therapists just like yourself become successful, thrive in their business, and then also improve their clinical outcomes. So when we look at clinical outcomes, you have to separate insurance-based care from cash PT. It's two different worlds, and you have to understand that what works in one doesn't always work in the other, and these are two separate entities. So I'm going to speak to the person who has a lot of clinical experience first. This person has been practicing for 5, 8, 10 years, and now they're considering making the jump into cash PT practice. When you are in cash pay practice, when you are designing a company, when you were involved in running a company, there's 3 P's that go along ownership, and that's the people, the product, and the process. And when you looked at insurance-based care, out of those 3 P's, your process was pretty straightforward. You were really good at writing notes, getting things down. Your efficiency was good, documentation, and you got a really good process. And your product was how fast can you get somebody pain-free, or how fast can you get somebody swelling down, or how fast can you get knee range of motion. So your clinical skills, along with what the goal and intent was to get impairments fixed, to get range of motion fixed, to prove to insurance providers that you did their job and the patient was happy. And then there was the people aspect. The 3rd P is process, product, and people. And when you look at people in insurance-based care, typically you do care about the person, but the person isn't paying out of pocket. They might be paying $15, $20. So it's a bargain. It's cheap. It's why not? My insurance pays for it. I should come here. So when that person is coming for a low price, or when somebody else is paying, their intent is different, and your ability to help them is going to be different in that the person has different expectations, and that person understanding who they are and why they made that decision to come see you, it's not as important. They came to see you for the low price. You have to do that. No matter how good you are, it was because you had a low price point. That's why they came to see you. Otherwise, they wouldn't have. If you were $10 more, they might have questioned whether you were that good or not. And you might say, well, my clinical skills are that much better. That's the insurance-based side. Now, when you come up to the cash-based side, that people, product, and process is a whole different entity. So the process in which you manage somebody from initial evaluation all the way through a plan of care is completely different. Offering and designing the plan of care is completely different. So when your process on doing the evaluation is separate from the insurance, now you have to consider, all right, now what about my product? How good are my clinical skills that translate to cash pay PT? The consumer, that patient, isn't worried about swelling or goniometric measurements. They're really concerned about, how does this translate into my daily activities? Can I do the things I want? Go up and down stairs? Can I go for a run? Those type of things. So your product was really good at improving impairments. It was really good at reducing swelling. It was really good at getting hips strong. That doesn't always translate to improving what the person wants on the other side, on cash pay. So your clinical skill is going to be a little different because it's a different process, a different expectation. And you have to have a deeper understanding of what the person is and why they made the decision, their personality, why they just managing people and their expectations. And so does clinical experience in a insurance-based setting translate to cash? Not always. And now, while you might be able to get them pain-free, your understanding of what their goal is might be different. And their pain-free was really important to them, but they still can't get back to soccer. They weren't able to get back to the workout that they wanted on the time that they wanted. And that's why laying out a perfect plan of care and understanding timelines and managing people and their expectations is different in the cash-based setting, because all you had on the insurance side was, how do I improve the impairments? Impairments are important, but not as important in cash PT. So does clinical skill translate? Not always. And people management and your process is just as important. And so if you're a new grad thinking, maybe I should do cash PT practice and I should have, more clinical experience, is that the right thing for me right now? And that's not always the case. You can still design and improve your people and your process while developing your skills. So if you're new and considering it, go for it. I think it's fantastic. It really comes down to, what are your people skills? What's your process? How efficient you are, and what's your hunger and your drive? And if you're an experienced clinician thinking it's going to be easy, it is not. I'm telling you right now, a new grad might be just as good in a cash pay setting because of their people management and their process, and their skills are important, but it's only a certain percent of the actual improvement in that care. So if you're thinking, I've been practicing for a long time, I'll make that leap, you've got to make some big adjustments on how you manage them. It's not like PT school. It's not like insurance insurance-based care. If you're a new grad and you haven't been tainted with insurance-based care and those type of things, then it's an optimal opportunity. It comes down to what's your risk tolerance and what's that next step for you. So when you're considering clinical outcomes and does clinical skill translate? Not always, but it does help. And I've done several videos on this on residency training and how to improve this and what CEU courses are best. But ultimately, to answer the global question, it doesn't always translate. So don't think that years of experience translate into better outcomes and into a more successful cash PT practice. I hope this helps along your journey to becoming that go-to expert in your community.